Yeah, Shalom Israel, Shalom. Barakatha YaHaWah, Barakatha YaHaWaShi, Barakatha YaHaWah, Barakatha YaHaWaShi, Barakatha YaHaWah, Barakatha YaHaWaShi. BaHaSham Qadash. Double honors to apostle and elders of great Muslim who teach you and rule well, who taught me this truth. Peace and salutation to the Akim out there pushing this truth all over the earth. And to the Akwith listening, quietly listening and learning. Shalom. This is the brother Shimon from the Pillars of Benjamin camp here in Toronto with another lesson. Quick lesson, quick lesson, a couple precepts. But I just wanted to touch on this. Spirit jumped on me, right? They're extending the state of emergency over there in Victoria, Australia, right? And yeah, we'll just peep it. SBS News article, and we'll touch the few precepts.
Of the state of emergency, each of you know that expires on the 13th of September. The Public Health and Wellbeing Act, an act of the Victorian Parliament, provides for a maximum of 6 months for the running of that state of emergency. It can only operate and function for 6 months. That is the legal instrument that allows, for instance, rules about face masks, rules about COVID-safe work plans in large workplaces and small. That's the legal instrument that, for instance, sits behind density limits in pubs and restaurants and cafes, or things like a positive person, someone who's got this virus, being required to isolate at home. So we simply can't have those important rules and the legal framework that sits behind them. We can't have that end on the 13th of December because this virus won't have ended by the 13th of next month.
Important rules and legal framework. That's what he said, man, right? Listen, the elites, the banking families, right? Listen, they're not going to let, what's the saying? Don't let a good virus go to waste. Listen, they're going to squeeze and they're going to squeeze and they're going to squeeze until everyone's complacent, man. Right? Let's get a scripture. Right? They're not playing around, man. Right? The wicked, E. Frameth mischief. Right? Rules and legal framework. Right? Esau, wicked guy. You see me? They're wicked. Frameth mischief by Allah. Psalms 94 verse 20. Right? And they're gonna milk this, man. Right? But we know it's the will of YaHaWah BaHaSham YaHaWaShi. Right? Ultimately. Right? We know it's the Most High YaHaWah BaHaSham YaHaWaShi that is the author of this. You see me? Psalms 94 verse 20. Shall the throne of iniquity have fellowship with thee, which frameth mischief by Allah? Right? Frameth mischief by Allah. Right? Rules, man. Unrighteous decrees. Isaiah 10 verse 1. Right? We're extending the state of emergency an additional 12 months. Right? Frameth mischief with Allah. Lies. Esau and their lies, man. Wicked E.
The important thing here is that before the 13th of September, and I'll leave it to that working group to determine exactly how and the presiding officers when the Parliament will sit, but we will extend the state of emergency provisions within the Public Health and Wellbeing Act for a maximum of a further 12 months. So that means it'll be a total of 18 months, the 6 months that we've already been through.
And listen, man, this is just going to make its way over to the Western Hemisphere, the Americas, North America, Central America, South America, Babylon the Great, America the Great, right? So an extension of a state of emergency, an additional 12 months over there in Australia, it's just going to make its way over here, man, right? They're all in bed with each other. These banking families, these elites, right? They all have their agenda, man. A vaccine, right? And ultimately the RFID chip. And this plague, this COVID thing, that they're riding out, man. It's not going anywhere, man. You know, a lot of people have been lulled to sleep, thinking a false sense of security, thinking everything's back to normal, man. You know what I mean? Second Ezra 16 verse 14. Behold, the plagues are sent and shall not return again, right? These plagues have been sent, man, by YaHaWaShi, right? And they're not returning. They're coming to the earth to do what they're supposed to do, man, right? Behold, the plagues are sent and shall not return again until they come upon the earth, right? These plagues are gonna wipe out. This COVID thing is just a plague, man, right? Worse plagues are in the pipeline, right? It's gonna wipe out the 2/3, right? It's gonna wipe out the heathen nations, right? Mass death is coming, man. Verse 15, the fire is kindled and shall not be put out till it consume the foundation of the earth, right? That's those ICBMs, man, that are going to strike. Verse 16, like as an arrow which is shot of a mighty archer, returneth not backward, right? So when you shoot an arrow from a bow and arrow, man, it doesn't turn around, right? Like as an arrow which is shot of a mighty archer, returneth not backward, even so the plagues that shall be sent upon the earth shall not return again, right? The Most High, he's not playing, man, right? And this is just a sign of things to come, man, right? The draconian measures that are about to take place. This is all prep, man.
Plus a further 12 months. But it is about making sure that even after the worst of this, the second wave has passed, there will still be, for a considerable period of time, it could be less than another 12 months, we'd certainly hope so. If a vaccine was to appear next year, well then many of those rules would not be needed. But we have to assume that that vaccine won't be here, and that there will be some rules, like how many people can go to a restaurant.
Listen, man, the elites... A vaccine is coming, man. That's the end game of this COVID thing, a vaccine. Ultimately, the chip, the RFID chip, right? But the vaccine is the first step, man.
Wearing face masks, COVID-safe work plans in workplaces, and the need for people, as a matter of law, if you've got this, you need to be at home away from other people. Those sorts of rules are all a product of the state of emergency. And the provisions within the Public Health and Wellbeing Act need to be changed to reflect the fact that whilst we'd all love this to be over by the 13th of September, which is when the Act says the state of emergency must end, that's just not going to be the case. We're going to have this with us for a considerably longer period than that.
Yeah. Making moves, man. Let's close out with this scripture, man. They're making moves. 2 Ezra 16 verse 18, the beginning of sorrows and great mournings, the beginning of famine and great death, right? These are the times that we're in right now, man. The beginning, right? These are the beginning of the times that are coming. It's only going to get worse, right? 12-month extension of a state of emergency. What's going to happen when there's a 6-month lockdown, man? Shelter in place. People are going to bug out. 2 Ezra 16 verse 18, the beginning of sorrows and great mournings, the beginning of famine and great death, the beginning of wars, and the power shall stand in fear. The beginning of evils, what shall I do when these evils shall come? Right? Famines, wars, it's all about to pop off, man. Right? Great death, we ain't seen nothing yet, man. Behold, famine and plague, tribulation and anguish are sent as scourges for amendment. But for all these things they shall not turn from their wickedness, nor be always mindful of the scourges, right? So yeah, that classic example. Look, a little bit of leniency was given. Shelter in place were taken off, and people were lulled into a false sense of security, thinking everything's all good, man. Everything's all good, man. But it's not good, man. It's not good. It's gonna get worse. They're about to tighten their grip. You think they're gonna let go now that they've come this far? They're about to tighten their grip. Let's close out with this. 2 Ezra 16 verse 68. For behold, the burning wrath of a great multitude is kindled over you. Right? That burning wrath is the burning wrath of Eve, man, the wicked, the elites, the banking families. They have a burning wrath. Kindled over who? The Israelites. The Israel being a people before a place, the so-called indigenous, the so-called Latinos, the so-called Negroes, right? For behold, the burning wrath of a great multitude is kindled over you, and they shall take away certain of you, right? Some Israelites are gonna get taken away. Primarily the 2/3, right? Mainly the 2/3, you know. 1 and 2, one and two most are willing or of the elect. 1 and 2 of the election may be martyrs, right? But this is the 2/3 that are gonna taken up, man, right? And they shall take away certain of you and feed you being idle, stationary, locked up, shelter in place, FEMA camps, whatever it may be. But you're gonna be stationary. You're idle, right? And feed you being idle with things offered unto idols, right? Ultimately, this is vaccine that's coming, man. And they that consent unto them shall be had in derision and reproach and trodden underfoot. So ultimately, your consent ultimately is destruction, man. You know what I mean? But this vaccine is just a setup for the RFID chip, man. You know what I mean? The RFID chip is in the pipeline. You know what I mean? It's in the pipeline, man. They're just squeezing tighter and tighter, man. It's gonna get worse, man. You know what I mean? But I pray you're edified. I don't want Rataza, just feed the lambs, man. You know what I mean? Pull out the elect. That's what we're here to do. You know what I mean? Call Allah YaHaWah, BaHaSham, YaHaWaShi, BaHaSham, Qadash. Double honors to the apostle and elders, a great millstone who teach one rule well. Peace and salutation to the Aki and pushing his truth all over the earth. Kwame Asherallah, Abad Babal.